quit a job or give them your notice until you know you have another job. And so you're a cook. I'm sure, where are you a cook at?
I was a cook at a
All right, so you were a cook. So where are you working now?
currently.
See, you've quit 2 jobs already. All right, are the parties ready on Gabriel Echartia? We're gonna find out how to pronounce that when you all come up, at least how I can pronounce it.
I'll let him explain that.
How do you pronounce it?
Echartia.
Echartia. Okay, Echartia. All right, court is calling 2024 CR 1497, State of Texas versus Gabriel Echartia. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Jason Garahan, Your Honor.
Defense?
Brian Kimbrough.
And are you Mr. Echartia?
Yes,
Counsel, have you received all the discovery that you reviewed with your client?
I did.
Mr. Echartia, did you review the document entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it? Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
I do.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
We are, Your Honor.
Mr. Echartia, did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes.
Did you understand you're charged with the offense of evading arrest, detention with a vehicle? That's a 3rd-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial? A right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent. Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights? And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
No comment.
No. Did you understand what your rights are?
Yes.
And are you intending to give up those rights to enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case? Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine? Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I do.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I do.
Mr. Echartia, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented? Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargaining agreement with your attorney? Did you understand it? According to the plea, there's a $1,500 fine and the state recommends deferred adjudication. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
It is, Your Honor.
State?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of repeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places? Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 2 years. There be a TAP evaluation and 180 hours of community service restitution. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations? Then to the offenses charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? State, any evidence?
No objection.
All right, state, you may be excused. Did you review the document entitled Waiving Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places? Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence States Exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing States Exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
I would ask the court to follow the plea bargain. Mr. Ortega has no criminal record. He's what, 20? 20 years old, Your Honor. This was a big mistake. He understands that, and he'll do well on probation, I'm sure.
All right. So why are you going 100 miles per hour?
To be honest with you, Your Honor, that day I was going to school.
All right. So here's the thing, and your attorney will tell you this. When people start a sentence with, to be honest with you, usually what's coming after that is not honest. And then when people say, in all honesty, what's coming is not honesty. Whenever you hear people talking and they say, well, with all due respect, what's about to come is without respect. So you're speeding, going 100 miles per hour. Why?
I was going to school.
Yeah, but why are you going 100 miles per hour? Other people go to school, they're not going 100 miles per hour. I'm sorry, what?
I was running late, Your Honor.
So you're running late. And what school were you going to?
I was going to Pathways Home Education
And whose car were you in?
in my vehicle.
All right, do you have insurance on that vehicle in your name? And were you paying for that vehicle and paying for the insurance? Who was paying for the insurance?
Paid my money.
And so how long were you in doing home education with Pathways? And where were you doing education before Pathways?
It was Stevens High School.
All right, so why were you at Pathways Home as opposed to Stevens?
I had dropped out at Stevens High School during the pandemic because they weren't allowing me present in my classes anymore.
Mhm.
And I wanted to go back to school. So we had found an educational program for students that wanted to work from home, or if they wanted to, could go to the school physically, if they felt comfortable with it.
Mhm.
And I was just running like that day. And I'm trying to go back to school now, really.
So have you graduated?
No.
So
when I
how do
went
you-
into jail, that kind of made everything fall apart.
And then I bet when you went to jail, that sort of woke you up too.
Yes, ma'am.
So how far did you go in school?
How far? About junior year.
So you're in your junior year, you're 20. School is different from when I went.
At that time,
It was rare that 18-year-olds were still in high school. They had already graduated. So I'm trying to figure out why
I
at
got held back in
20,
first grade.
I'm sorry?
I got held back in first grade,
Okay.
but I was 19 at the time, so I was still eligible for a high school diploma. So that's why I was going through that educational program to get my diploma.
All right. How long have you been out of custody?
State, I believe. To be honest with you, I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No, no.
All right. Either you're just trying to put that behind you or it didn't make enough of an impact. So have you been out of custody for more than a month? More than 3 months? More than 6 months? All right. So you haven't been in school since you've been out of custody. So what have you been doing?
I've been working, been hopping job from job.
Working, doing what?
I was working industrial, and then for a little bit, I was also working as a cook.
All right. When you say working industrial, what do you mean by that?
I mean, I made automotive vehicles. I worked for Toyota for a little bit.
Okay. And why did you stop working at Toyota?
I stopped working at Toyota because I couldn't do the hours. It was 2 weeks on day, 2 weeks on night, and trying to transition through that was really hard for me.
So you quit. And when you quit working at Toyota, did you give them a 2 weeks notice?
Yes, I did.
All right. And when you quit, did you already have another job lined up?
I did. I was searching.
And is the reason why you didn't have another job lined up because you knew you could live with your mom?
Well, that, yes, and because I wanted to look for another opportunity somewhere.
Well, here's the thing. If you're living by yourself, or either if you're living and the household is dependent on your income, you can't just say, this job, I don't like their hours, so I'm going to quit. Here's my 2 week notice and I don't have anything fall back on. Because for example, if your mother were to say, I don't like my job, if she's working, I don't know if she's retired or not, but if she's working, she can't say, I don't like my job, I don't have any other place to go, I'm just going to quit. And children, just so you know, your mom is quitting her employment, so you're all going to have to pick up the slack. You're an adult. And is your mom with you today?
She was this morning, but
All
she
right.
couldn't come.
So your mom was here with you this morning and she's going to work. So here's the thing, you can't just, you're an adult, even though technically you're 20, people still see you as young. 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. People still see them as young, but technically you're an adult. So you got to put away the childish things. You can't just quit a job and say, I'm going to find something else. And for you to be working at Toyota, I'm sure Toyota was paying you well, but you haven't even graduated high school and you got a good job. And it's Toyota. Maybe you don't like the hours. My mom, she used to work on rotating shifts, and you know what her shifts were? And I'm probably going to get this wrong, but I think it was 7 days straight. And she had to do rotating shifts. So she had a morning shift. You do that for 7 days. Then I think they give you like 3 days off. And then you have the middle shift, which is the 3 to 11 shift. You do that for 7 days. Then they give you 3 days off. Then you have the graveyard shifts. It was either 7 days each shift or 14 days each shift. And you know what? She didn't quit that job. You know why she didn't quit that job? Because people were dependent on her paycheck. Her children were dependent on her paycheck. So you need to stop and start growing up and stop thinking that you can just quit a job and a new job is just going to pop up. You understand? Don't quit a job or give them your notice until you know you have another job. And so you're a cook. I'm sure. Where are you a cook at?
I was a cook at a
All right. So you were a cook. So where are you working now?
currently.
See, you've quit 2 jobs already. And I'm sure Toyota had good benefits. And you know what? The other people who are working that rotating shift, you're behind now. And this is what I mean about your being behind. You're going to look up and you're going to be that person going from job to job. And then the people who are at Toyota with you, they're going to be ready for their retirement. And they're going to say, you know what? I already put in my 20 years. Whereas you may end right back up at Toyota and you'll only have a year in and you're looking at doing 19 more. Don't be a leaf blowing around in the wind. You understand? Any children, do you? Okay.
Trust me, if I did.
I didn't want to ask that question, but I was like, please, you got to work on yourself first before you do that. All right. So there's going to be a $1,500 fine. I'm going to probate that, not for you. I'm probating it for your mom because I know she would help you pay that. So we're going to probate that. I'm going to place you on 2 years deferred adjudication. You're going to get employment. You understand?
Yes.
And I'm going to require that you stick with that job. The only time you can leave the job you have, of course, if there's something dangerous happening, they're violating OSHA standards. The only time you'll be able to leave that job, if they're not violating OSHA standards, is if you already have another job. You understand? We're not going to do that anymore. So it's going to be proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Oh, and by the way, at Toyota, that shift you were working, I'm sure if you put enough time in, they probably would have given you a different shift. Those shifts are usually for people that they're trying to see if you're going to last. So if I were in your position and I haven't graduated from high school, Toyota seems like it's a good place to be in as far as benefits, 401k. I'm sure they'll do medical, dental, all of that. You understand? There is going to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. There'll be regular random UAs, defensive driving course, 180 hours of community service restitution. That will be waived if he completes his GED or if he graduates from school or if he enters and successfully completes a trade school. There's going to be field visits 1 time per month for 2 months. Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful? Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand? All right, so we can go off the record. Here's the thing. You're going 100 miles per hour, and guess what could have happened? 1, you're not a race car driver, right? You could have easily hit a child who was walking through the crosswalk, because guess what? Children tend to be walking through crosswalks during school. Could have been somebody from high school. Could have been one of the little elementary school children who are just trying to make it to school, and you're speeding at 100 miles per hour. This is not Fast and the Furious. You understand? And you easily could have been killed. You could have wrapped your vehicle around a light pole or ran into the school. You understand? All right. And then if that would have happened, you know what? They would have been trying, if you would not have survived, they would have been trying to sue your mom All right, good luck to you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yes, you're welcome. Do we have? All right, court is calling 2024 CR 5226, State of Texas versus Clinton Camacho. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense?
The attorney of record is Monica Guerrero, Joseph Stateson standing in, and Mr. Camacho. Will you give the court permission for me to do this in place of Ms. Guerrero?
Yes.
All right, counsel, have you received all the discovery and did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Camacho, did you review the application for deferred adjudication with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, I understand, Judge.
All right, did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes,
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented? All right, Mr. Camacho, did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendant's Waivers and Defendant's Affidavit of Admonitions?
yes,
Did you understand you're charged with the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, 4 to 200 grams? That's a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
yes, I understood.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you enter a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, I understood.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, Judge.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes,
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case? Did you understand that the court would grant your application for deferred adjudication? If for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine.
yes, I understood.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was sane at the time of the offense?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Mr. Camacho, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea?
No, Judge.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, Judge.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes,
Are you a U.S. citizen?
yes,
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
yes, I understood, Judge.
According to the plea, there's a $1,000 fine to be probated, and the state recommends deferred adjudication. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, I understood, Judge.
Defense is at the plea.
Yes, Your Honor.
State is at the plea.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, I did, Judge.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, I understood.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is recommending that you deferred adjudication be for a term of 4 years. There be a TAP evaluation, 120 hours of community service restitution, and regular UAs. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, I understood, Judge.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest, Judge.
State any evidence? Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Camacho, did you review the document entitled Waiver and Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, I did, Judge.
State, you may be excused.
No.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, Judge.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements, police reports, and laboratory reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, I understood, Judge.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and court will review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with
Yes, Your Honor.
anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
We ask that you follow the recommendation.
All right. I have a few questions for you, Mr. Camacho. One of the questions I'm going to ask the facts of the case because you probably have an attorney on that case. It's in regards, counsel, to the assault bodily injury warrant he had. Do you know the outcome of that case?
I believe I believe this was the only case visible.
Okay,
If I may check with the state to see if
Yes.
there's another case pending. I thought it was closed.
Not ending, Your Honor, all of the sentence.
all right. And then what happened to your wrist?
I broke it. I was staying in a motel and they locked the exit, so I jumped the fence. And when I jumped the fence, I got caught on the fence, my shoe, and twisted my knee.
All right, was that during this altercation or something else?
No.
So who locked an exit?
It was on Broadway. It was a motel on Broadway. I don't know.
So why were you hopping fences as opposed to going
I
through?
was gonna go through, there was only one entrance,
Mhm.
so there was only one exit, so I just jumped the fence.
All right, and how long ago was that from this incident?
Maybe 3 days prior to that.
Why didn't you go to a doctor before then?
I
I mean, broken wrists don't heal on their own.
yes,
All right,
I was told that if I didn't go that same day, that it was kind of like, it wouldn't have helped my situation with my wrist. It would have stayed broken because I broke it in 2 places.
oh no.
So if I wouldn't have got like immediate emergency help or whatever, I wouldn't have.
Who told you? I'm just curious, who told you that information?
That's the VA when I went to go show them my wrist. And
No, because my understanding, I could be wrong, I'm not a medical doctor. But what I've been told, if you need stitches and you don't get those immediately, then they're like, what can we do?
yes,
But for a broken wrist, it's gonna heal improperly, potentially. And you know what they're gonna have to do? Have surgery and break your wrist to put it back together again. That's just based upon documentaries that I watch. I don't know if it's true. I'm not a medical doctor. And for the record, I'm not giving him any medical advice, but you need to have that wrist looked after.
yes, ma'am.
All right, so you mentioned VA. Are you a veteran?
Yes,
All right, what branch?
I was in Army.
How long?
3.5 years.
So why are you at this place and no longer in the military?
Wrong choices, I guess.
All right, how many children do you have?
I don't have any children.
All right. And iguanas, burritzozilla, am I pronouncing that correct? Or is it
According to-
burritozilla?
I believe it's just now called iguanas.
Oh, why do they put burritozilla like they sell burritos?
Client says that was a food truck and now it's actually a restaurant and they just say iguanas. I'm not certain.
Okay. All right, when's the last time you were employed?
Temporary agency.
Yeah, I work in temp, so it's on and off.
And he does receive military disability. So he may not be able to have
Okay.
other types of work.
So what's your disability from the military?
1,300 a month.
No, I'm sorry. Why are you on disability?
Oh, I have a slip disc and I have PTSD. I get nightmares.
You say PTSD, slip disc, and what else?
I have nightmares. It's my
Okay.
consists of my PTSD.
He was deployed to Iraq in 2009, 2010.
All right. All right. Is there anything else you think I should know about you before I put down conditions? Okay. Who would you be staying with if you were released?
But I'm probably gonna be staying at the GI Forum for homeless vets first, and then I'm gonna try and get a number.
Okay. And with regards to these drugs, how often had you been using?
The other day.
All right. And does he have any other priors other than this? And the assault case?
No
Anything
risks. Yes, Your Honor.
else? What else?
I would have to refer back to the state's file.
All right. Is there any violent offenses?
To my knowledge, there is another possession of controlled substance case that he had during his military service.
All right. So any other violent history? I see that you have the assault. And from the way it's labeled, it appears that it was a misdemeanor assault.
I believe so.
Do you have any other violent offenses? And when I say violent offenses, anything that's aggravated, anything that involves hitting someone or anything of that nature?
No,
So other than the assault in this drug case, do you have anything else? Right, ever been to prison? All right. And just let me know if there's something different, Mr. Stateson. All right, so I'm gonna sentence you to $1,000 fine. That's gonna be probated. Sentence you to 4 years deferred adjudication. Let's do a referral to felony drug court. That'll be first. Because it's Monday, they'll be able to see you before the week is out. And so I'm gonna have that done in custody. And the reason why is because felony drug court will be able to help you with housing, will be able to help you with any other issues that you're having.
appreciate that.
As opposed to me just sending you out, good luck. Hopefully they get you housing. They'll be able to help right away. All right, and that referral is going to be in custody. And so, as I said, they'll be able to see you this week and they'll be able to let the court know whether or not they're accepting him this week.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome. We can do, if they don't accept him, we can do a referral to Veterans Treatment Court out of custody. And we'll do a TAP evaluation in custody. How long is TAP? All right. So if felony drug court accepts him or felony drug court does their own TAP, we can just go along with their TAP recommendation. Usually if felony drug court is unable to accept you, they'll send to the court their recommendations. So we'll do a TAP evaluation, proof of employment or military disability within 30 days. So either you provide proof of your military disability or you're going to have to get employment. You understand?
It's my word. Literally.
All right. And if there is an issue where you can't provide that within 30 days, counsel, just let us know and we'll see what we can do. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider with minors. We'll do a MIC evaluation, 120 hours of community service restitution. What are you planning on doing with the rest of your life? Like, what are your hobbies or what are you interested in?
Actually interested in starting a business, so I'm gonna try to start getting my credit. I've been trying to get my home loan for the VA, so I need to get my credit.
All right. So what type of business do you want to start?
I wanted to start a brick oven pizza place.
All right. So 120 hours community service restitution. That will be waived if you complete some sort of culinary certification. There's going to be field visits 1 time per month for 4 months. And I'm going to want 90 sober meetings in 90 days. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person and regular random UAs. And there's to be no unsupervised contact with minors. So here's the thing, if you have nieces or nephews, their guardian or some adult needs to be around them. And the reason why I'm doing that is because until you are sober, I think it's probably for the best. So once he has some months of sobriety behind him, that could be changed if you come back to court counsel.
Right.
All right, probation, is there anything else he needs? Oh, I'm sorry, one final thing. The police were called because they said you were loitering at iguanas. So I'm not going to allow you to have contact with them, okay? So there's to be no contact with iguanas, and it's Burrito Zilla, and no contact with 4205 Fredericksburg Road. All right. Is there anything else you need from the court?
No.
All right. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, I understood.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
I understood.
All right, we can go off the record. So if there's anything you need, just let the court know if you feel as though probation is not addressing it.
Appreciate it, Judge.
All right, so what is going to be your specialty? Pizza, all types of pizza?
I really want to make like Mexican pizzas, like, you know what I mean?
Okay, what's a Mexican pizza?
Queso flameado, like pizza.
Okay, now, what did you say?
Yeah, that's-
What did you say?
I have like, it's
No, I mean, you said something in Spanish.
queso flameado, it's goat cheese
Mhm.
with chorizo.
Mhm.
And well, I want to put that on a pizza.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple things.
All right, well, we'll have to order it and see how it tastes. But here's the thing, if we order it, we're gonna be honest in our, our taste testing, yeah. But I'm sure it'll be good.
Your Honor, it was a criminal trespass resisting misdemeanor.
Okay.
but the ABI appears to have been family household.
All right, so then felony drug court should accept you. You just need to be honest with them. And I know that program is a hard program, but they will truly help you with any mental health issues. And they will also help you with housing and help you get your life on track. Who knows? They may send something to me and say, try Veterans Treatment Court. The only reason why I didn't recommend Veterans Treatment Court first is because it does take them, it seems, months to decide to accept someone. And I don't want you sitting in jail for months. Okay.
I appreciate that.
All right. Thank you.
You have a good rest of your day. Judge.
All right, you too. We're gonna go back on the record in 2023 CR 2172, State of Texas versus Satara Portillo. Could our parties announce for the record?
Daniel Escobar for the state.
Joseph Stateson, continuing to fill in for Mr. Hoyos.
All right. The defendant had entered a plea of true to violation of condition number 35. Do you wish to continue with your plea of true in violation of condition number 35?
Yes.
All right, the court will find violation of condition number 35 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
Your Honor, if I may,
Yes.
I discussed this with the COO, Ms. Abrams, and ADA Daniel. My client is asking to be continued. We had a recommendation that was a three-way agreement. I understand the court didn't want to follow that. I had proposed something to Daniel. I'm hoping that you would consider this. But just some background a little bit first. Her prior MTR was disposed of February 27th, 2024. But she was booked February 3rd, 2024. So from February 3rd till today, according to the clerk, it's 137 days. So she's had the equivalent of a, not court ordered, but equivalent of a 4-month jail sanction. She will admit, well, she did admit that she refused to sign conditions for inpatient. She's willing to do not just ISF, she's willing to do SAT-F. She's willing to redo all her classes. She's been in jail for quite a long time. That's her own mistake. She admits that she didn't want to sign it. Maybe she was reluctant to, but she thought that she was supposed to get out, have court, and come back and do things. And she never left the jail. And out of frustration, she didn't sign the conditions.
No, I don't think she's a good candidate for probation. She was supposed to sign the conditions, the TAP recommended inpatient treatment, and she didn't do it. So I don't think she should be continuing on probation. She was given opportunity, and counsel, as you just stated, this is not her first motion to revoke. Her previous motion to revoke was on February 27th, as you stated, and there was a violation of condition number 1. And I ordered that there be a TAP evaluation in custody to follow those recommendations. And she decided that she didn't want to follow those recommendations. I don't see how there's anything that I can do anything for her. People don't get it. You're not supposed to, when the court orders you to do something, for example, to help you by following the recommendations of TAP. TAP recommended inpatient treatment. And I know sometimes people get to talking to people at the Bexar County Jail. And when I say people at the Bexar County Jail, I mean other inmates. And they give people advice, and people want to follow the advice of an inmate, not realizing that, guess what? That person is in custody. But I made an order, and we can't do this thing where I order somebody to follow the TAP recommendations, and the TAP says inpatient, and then somebody says, I'm not signing to go to inpatient. And then what ends up happening when reality hits that your range of punishment is 5 to 99 years or life, then people come before the court and they want to say, oh, you know what? I changed my mind. Now I will do inpatient treatment. So that's where we are.
And
I don't
Your
think
Honor,
she's a good candidate.
she's also willing to take a felony conviction, change it from deferred to straight probation. She's willing to do the harsher inpatient treatment program with 0 tolerance. It was a poor decision for her to not sign that. 4 months she's been in here. She's willing to sign this, willing to do this, and even add to these conditions.
I just don't think she's a good candidate. If somebody wants to argue to me why she would be a good candidate for probation, when this is her second motion to revoke. And I ordered her to follow the recommendations of the TAP evaluation, and she didn't want to follow them. But now she does because, I don't know, I guess she thought a motion to revoke would not be filed against her.
Yeah, I didn't know that that's what would result.
Ah,
I
so
thought.
these
we-
are called consequences.
Well, Your Honor, also the charge itself, people who are affected with these substances may not make the best decisions in life. To prevent her from reoffending in the future, relapsing. And she's willing to do even more intensive inpatients.
But she's charged with possession with intent to deliver, and I understand that sometimes when people have possession with intent to deliver cases, sometimes they're selling because they're also using. But the amount of methamphetamine she had was 27.980 grams. I don't think probation is appropriate for her. I'm not going to continue on probation. I'm going to revoke her and find her guilty. Does anybody wish to speak to punish her?
Defense would ask for the minimum time, Your Honor. With credit for time served.
All right, I'll sentence her to 5 years in the prison. Give her credit for any time served. And I'll ask for the therapeutic community. I'm going to show you what's entitled trial court certification of defendant's rights to appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes,
But you do have a limited right to appeal. That right to appeal is as it relates to the allegations in the motion, not the fact that you are on deferred adjudication. Do you understand?
yes, please.
All right, because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you. Thank you. It's here on Corian Valant. Court is calling 2024 CR 3101A, State of Texas versus Corian Valant. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Jason Gary, Your Honor.
Defense?
Scott McCrum for Ms. Valent.
And are you Ms. Valant?
Yes,
How do you pronounce your last name?
it's Belen.
Valant.
Yeah, the first.
We're
name.
all
Sorry,
wrong.
Judge.
The whole name though.
All right, and how do you pronounce your first name?
Green,
Kareem.
yes.
Doubly wrong. Kareem Valant.
Yes.
Okay. Counsel, have you received all the discovery in this case and did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Are there any applications in this case?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Valent, did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
No, Your Honor, we're waiving the habitual and proceeding actually on the reduced charge of robbery.
Any objections?
No objection.
Did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense of robbery? The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
She has.
Do you believe she has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against her?
She does.
Do you believe she's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I do.
Ms. Valent, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived her right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense of robbery. Punishments be assessed at 3 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine and no applications. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
Did you review the document? Well, did you review the paragraph entitled waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Then to the offense of robbery, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
State, any evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. State exhibit number 1 with all this attachment.
No objection.
All right, state, you may continue to confirm.
Thank you, Judge.
Did you review the document entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial? A right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, please.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor.
All right, the court is finding you guilty. The court will follow your agreement, sentence you to 3 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. There's a $1,500 fine, time and money to run concurrent. There's to be no contact with Damian J. Galvan or Rebecca Jean Alvarez. Anything else with regards to sentencing?
No, Your Honor.
Did you review what's entitled trial court certification of defendant's rights to appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
And did you sign it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. You're gonna have to start making better decisions. You understand? All right, good luck to you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. All right, can I see the file on